Well, good afternoon and welcome to another Telford Makerspace podcast. With me today is Emily
Hi guys.
and myself, Paul. There's just the two of us today. A lot of people have got other commitments on at the weekend, and it's not always possible to get the whole team on board. But we think it's very important to keep these podcasts going. Also, for this is the first one we're actually videoing. So for those of you just listening on the podcast, you can't see the video feed. Sorry. But we are pushing it up onto our website and onto YouTube. So what are we going to be talking about today, Emily?
So, we do have some very interesting news from our visit to the Telford Community Pride Awards. We were nominated for that, and we'll be. Thanks for covering my face, Paul.
You're welcome.
With the little, the
little picky
certificate that we got.
Yeah.
We were nominated for the Best Community Support Group category.
Yep.
Now, while we didn't win, it was an honour to be nominated.
Absolutely.
And get some recognition for the good work that we do.
Yep. I think it was Pod's parents on board or Pod something Pod that won it.
Pod, that's the one.
Pod, yeah.
Parents of disabilities or something like that.
We must get that name right one day.
Yes.
Fantastic group of people. They did reach
They
out
were.
to us on Discord a few weeks ago, and on Facebook and everything, and they really do a really fantastic job, and it's I think they really appreciated the award. To be honest.
Yes, they did.
There was a bit of a cheer in the ring when they found they won it. So
Definitely.
That's good. So there's no hard feelings on our side whatsoever, because it's an absolute honour, I think, to be even nominated for this. And it was a shock, wasn't it? We didn't.
It was. We weren't expecting it. We didn't put a call out saying, "Hey, nominate us for the whatever." We just got it out of the blue.
I think we had to verify the email a couple of times, really. Didn't we?
We did. Just is this genuine?
Yeah.
A few questions of is this right? Actually floated between us.
Yeah, we weren't sure at all. And of course it was the first one they've had since the pandemic, obviously.
Since 2019 was the last one.
2019, 2018.
No, it's every 2 years, isn't it?
Every 2 years, yeah.
So it'd be 2018.
2018, yeah.
Yeah.
This time it was held at the Great Hay in Sutton Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous place. Food was brilliant.
Food was really, really good.
Table drinks was fine. Bar, a little bit pricey, but that's what you get for these things. But the entertainment was very, very good. We did take a couple of videos, which we'll try and put them on to our YouTube. Thank you. I was stumbling for words there. Onto the YouTube video as well.
There may even be some sort of short clips we can overlay over this.
Yeah. It was brilliant. It was a really good night out.
It was. There was some interesting entertainment. You know, they had a jazz saxophonist. In for
he
the
went on
meal
for ages.
Oh yeah, I was thinking.
not in a bad way.
No.
I'm just saying, because while we were over our food, he was there banging out tune after tune after tune.
He was playing for a good hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Straight. You know.
Dedication, that is.
Yeah, exactly. You need a lot of repertoire for that.
You do.
You know, and then there was that other performer with the LED suits.
Yeah.
It looked like they had some sort of Iron Man-esque suit full of LEDs on the chest and on the shoulders, the back, and on their arms.
Yeah.
And then various props, didn't they? They had a few like light ones and
lightsaber wands kind of thing going on. They were very, very effective.
They were.
And that cube he picked up, the light cube.
Yep.
That must have been heavy.
Yeah, even if it was aluminium, it was this big, sort of 1 metre cube thing.
Yeah, at least a metre cube, and it was just amazing. We'll have to get the name of the person who he is and do a shout out for him. But apologies, we don't know your name at the moment, but we will get that sorted out.
I'll chase that up with Jodie. She'll know.
Yeah. But no, it was absolutely brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed the whole night.
I know Adam was definitely inspired by that performance.
Oh yeah. Light suit
you
came
him,
up.
Yeah.
Him and his little Andrino army.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be going nuts with that. But
exactly, you know. But one thing that impressed me was the light ones, the light batons. They were swinging them around in a circular motion and projected an image on the wand as it was spinning.
Like a hologram kind
Persistence
of
of vision is what it's called.
Yeah.
Which is normally done very specific, very precisely to get an image or a static image, but it's still very impressive to see spinning at a relatively unknown speed.
But it's like when he was doing that cube.
Yes.
And he was turning on and it just looked amazing. I mean, if the lights had been completely out, I think the effect would have been
even
absolutely
better.
perfect for him.
Yeah.
It's like when he was doing the light suit bits and pieces and everything, you could still see him. They didn't turn the lights down enough for me.
Yeah.
But it's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If you ever get invited to go to one of these things, go. Don't turn it down. Stay until the end. Make sure you get both parts of your meal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there were a few people.
A couple of peeps on our table did leave prematurely and then got an award.
Yeah.
Weren't it? And the presenter was like, "Where is he? Where is he?"
Yeah.
Just like, I guess it doesn't mean that much to him after all.
He's got extra pudding for me.
Yeah, exactly. I think you and Adam both had 2 meals each, didn't you?
Oh, well, I had a pudding.
You had the pudding.
I had 2 puddings and 1 main, and Adam had 3 mains.
Adam.
Look, he's a hungry, growing lad.
Yeah. That St Clement's tart was nice.
That was the name of it. I was trying to
St Clement's.
St Clement's, yeah, right.
It was very citrusy. It was a bit sour for my taste. I'm not a huge fan of sour flavours, but it was nice.
It was good. It was a very refreshing on the palate kind of thing. It's very good. Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting hungry now. But good night overall.
Yeah, very, very good night.
We're gonna have to figure out a way to celebrate this year, I think.
Yeah.
Just before the lockdown hit. So what would that be? December 18? Because it sort of hit 2019 February.
Yeah.
The December beforehand, when we were still quite small, it was before your time, obviously. We arranged just a bit of a get together with the makers, and just went to the local Chinese restaurant. Sat in, the Vineyard, don't you?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Anyway,
one in Wellington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reasonable enough Chinese restaurant. We sat down and had a bit of meal together, and it was a good way to round off the year as a community.
Okay, that's good.
And it'd be good to bring that back, maybe in a slightly bigger way with the community we've got now.
A Maker Awards.
Maker Awards, certainly.
There you go. It's an idea in the offing.
We're going to have to put Adam off 3D printing a trophy.
It's amazing the vase prints.
They are.
You can actually do. They are really, really good.
But we'll have to sort something out, I think.
Yeah.
It'll be good to recognise the members who've volunteered and contributed goods and services and whatnot. Because I know, for example, Ken does a lot for us, especially on the sticker front.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't charge us a thing, which I've said time and time again. We'll cover costs, we'll cover postage, and he flat out refuses. So it'd be good to at least acknowledge him for that.
Yeah. No, that would be good. We are opening up these podcasts to anybody that wishes to join on Discord. If Discord's not your thing, we can post a Zoom meeting link and do it that way. But we want these podcasts to be inclusive.
Yeah.
For anybody really. Doesn't matter what you want to come and talk about. But bear in mind, these are recorded and we don't necessarily have a beat machine with us, but they're not transmitted live, so we could edit out any language that shouldn't really be on our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We do need to sort out the Zoom stuff, I think. I'm dying to have Elizabeth on next week.
Oh right,
or
okay.
Next episode.
Yeah.
Who's that 3D printing, large format 3D printing expert?
Yeah.
She literally handed in her not dissertation.
Was it a doctorate or something, wasn't it?
Masters, I think.
Right. Okay.
Her is it dissertation?
It will be.
Dissertation. Literally yesterday evening. So I'm not going to bug her just yet, but it'd be good to say, hey, you said you'd come on the podcast. Do you want to come on?
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
Now you've finished your dissertation.
Yeah, she can tell us all about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's something to probably get her on episode 4 then in a couple of weeks. That'd be awesome.
It would be really good, Especially, it seems to line up quite nicely with the makers that we've got. And a lot of us are 3D printer focused.
Yep. 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 Cool. Cool. So that kind of takes us on to the next subject, really, which is um, what your expectations are on a hobby you want to do. You want to start. So you want to start a hobby. Doesn't matter what the hobby is. You've got to set expectations of what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it. There's nothing worse in starting a brand new hobby, spending a bit of money on it, seeing you really like it, and then you just kind of hit this knowledge wall. Now there's a proper curve thing for this. What can you tell us about that one, Emily? You know.
Yeah. So so there's this phenomenon, this effect called Dunning-Kruger effect.
Right.
Not
Freddy Krueger.
Not Freddy Krueger.
No, right. Okay.
No. Dunning-Kruger, from the two co-authors of the paper that explored this phenomenon, is essentially a sort of valley-shaped graph with confidence on the vertical, i.e. the more confident you are, and knowledge on the horizontal axis. I'll put an image on for our video viewers.
You're starting at the very top, at the very beginning.
Yeah, so at the very beginning.
You're really there. You haven't got a lot of knowledge, but your confidence is really high.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to do this. I've got to get into it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then your confidence is starting to dwindling.
Yeah, when you start to learn and you start to understand the scope of the topic at hand, it can start to feel a bit overwhelming. It start to feel like you know nothing, when in fact you probably know a lot more than you did even before you started.
Okay.
But then as you start to become like a more experienced or like a seasoned expert, your confidence will start to come back up.
Right.
But it will never reach the level of really being boastful.
Okay.
It explains sort of a lot of different areas of society, not just making and skills.
That can be applied to absolutely anything.
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
It?
A common one is sort of on conspiracy theorists, for example. Bear with me.
Okay,
I'm not going to go into any specific theory or whatever. Yeah. But the people that are most likely to fall for a specific conspiracy will be right on the beginning of the Dunning-Kruger curve. So no experience in the topic they're falling for. Maybe that's COVID, for example.
Right.
You might know nothing about virology or something, but you get that confidence from someone that supports this this conspiracy theory idea.
So that you kind of listen to the propaganda for this conspiracy.
Yeah, you fall for it because you know literally nothing.
Okay.
Whereas if you've done biology or something in later school years or in college, you're more likely or less likely to fall for something like that.
Okay, so you kind of figure out when somebody's trying to pull your leg, kind of thing.
And obviously, if you're an expert in virology, you're going to be pretty confident at saying that's BS.
Hence where the curve comes.
Back up.
Right.
But it applies to conspiracy theory. It applies to making as well.
Right.
You often see sort of keyboard warriors online who say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that because the voltage does this." When all of that, when in reality the reader or the person they're arguing with probably already knows that and is avoiding that in a different way, that kind of thing.
Right.
Or is otherwise aware of the problem that this keyboard warrior is bringing up and is still going towards that, but solving it in a different way.
Okay.
But not, it's not trying to put anyone off who's new and got a lot of confidence and a lot of enthusiasm for their new field.
Yeah.
You just need to be aware of when you're being a bit brutish, a bit show-offy,
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it applies to absolutely anything and everything. What you're doing, and in daily life, at work, it's you got to realise that even if you are right there on the way back up, you've got a lot of experience, a lot of confidence. Your confidence is building. There's always going to be somebody who's got a lot more experience and a lot more confidence in that given
Yeah.
subject, they're not always going to try and help you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do get, like you say, these keyboard warriors that will tell you, you mix black and white together, you get grey kind of thing, and they'll say, no, you get green and all that kind of rubbish. And you know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah,
you,
I
you
know
you're
exactly
always
what you
going to
mean.
get that kind of
Yeah.
guff. So it's. I suppose you've got to think about where you are on this scale,
Mm-hmm.
and then try and understand your expectations of where you are at that point you
Yeah.
are on the scale.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you've gone and bought your, I don't know,
You've done some Arduino stuff,
yeah,
and you're starting to realise, there's a lot more devices that I've got no clue about.
yeah.
There's a lot more things I've got no clue about, and it's really overwhelming. But you have to think you're right in that pit of the curve, and you need to look back and
It's
see
a
how
Pandora's
far you've come.
box, isn't it?
Yeah,
Really,
yeah.
it's how deep does the old wishing well kind of go?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, I know. I think I said in one of the other podcasts. I started messing around with, Arduino stuff, and I bought loads and loads of bits and pieces, a couple of kits and stuff. And my confidence was high. Experience was low, but I mean, I'm a coder anyway, but not on that particular IDE.
Mm-hmm.
I've still got loads and loads of bits and pieces that I want to do and I want to play with it. I mean, one of the things I was in the process of building was a CO2 carbon monoxide sensor system.
Yeah.
But that's a story for a different topic because that one can go on a bit. But yeah, it's very interesting, and when you start to understand how that curve works and where you are on that curve, you kind of get a bit of a sense of feeling. Well, all right, I know where I am at, happy where I'm at. I need a bit more experience.
Yeah.
Who can I go to gain that experience?
Mm-hmm.
So then you can go to people like us, Telford Makerspace, go on our Discord, on Facebook, reach out and ask a question. There will be people who know more than you. There might even be people who know less than you that will try and help. And that's what it's all about. It's a community. It's bringing people together and helping each other, yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
I know I rabbit on a bit, don't I? But,
Well, you end up turning it into a bit of a soft sell. But, it is our podcast. We can do what we want.
Exactly.
But it sort of leans into learning curves as well. Obviously, we've talked about the Dunning-Kruger being a valley shape.
Yeah.
But I've found, especially for electronics and Arduinos and stuff, the sort of learning curve, sort of the difficulty vertically over time, tends to be quite steep initially. When you're originally, I remember when I went to college and started learning electronics. I'd never touched electronics until I was sort of 16, 17,
Right.
when I started college. And I was like, what's a volt? What's a voltage? What's a current? You get overwhelmed with a lot of
Information overload.
information very quickly, and you need to sort of, or you're trying to sort of understand how they all relate to each other in a sort of physical aspect. And it takes a while to sort of get that base level of understanding.
Yeah.
It's that very steep initial learning curve. Because, as I say, it feels very overwhelming sometimes. But when you sort of study the sort of first principles, the basics of electronics, that curve slowly sort of flattens out, in my opinion.
Right.
Where you start to understand the relationship between voltage and current and power, reactive power, real power, all that kind of thing. And you can start exploring more advanced concepts now that you've got that understanding. I think as much as Arduinos are great, that's what the initial struggle with for a lot of people is. It's that basic understanding of electricity and electronics.
Right. Okay.
So programming, is relatively straightforward to get started with. But when you're bringing Arduinos and Raspberry Pis into the mix and you need to deal with voltages and different signals and that kind of thing, it starts to get a bit more difficult. And I don't believe Arduino and Raspberry Pi are equipped to inform that straight away. there doesn't seem to be, in my opinion, a super comprehensive and easy to access breakdown of why you need certain like resistor dividers and why signals are set up that way and that kind of thing.
I go along with that. I totally understand that. When I was doing the first couple of projects with the Arduino stuff on the little breakout boards, etc., the first one I did was temperature probe.
Yeah.
Okay, nice and dead simple. 3 wires, serial interface, job done, coded, output comes to screen. Next one was a display.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was putting on was a variable potentiometer. So you could change the contrast on the display. And there was a couple of resistors that you had to put in specific wires and specific holes. And I'm looking at this thinking, how does it work?
Why? Yeah. Why?
Why do I need that? Why don't I just take that out? Oh God, it all goes off. Okay, plug it back in. Or maybe I should have plugged it back in when it was turned off. You do stupid things like that because there's not enough, as you say,
guidance initially.
They're relying on. I'm not trying to put anybody off on these things. You really can't do any damage. You won't burn yourself or anything with any of the kits that come with Arduino. You start going near a mains thing. You need somebody else to help you with that. But they rely on a certain amount of understanding. All these kits. It's like, okay, there's your board. Get this, get that, get the other. They're relying on you having that certain base knowledge, which is actually hard to come by if you're doing this brand spanking new on your own. You're not into electronics or whatever your given subject is. It's difficult starting something from complete scratch, knowing nothing. Now, I've been around a bit. I'm 55 years old, 56 this year, old fart. When I did my engineering degree, finished schools and all that kind of stuff, I got into remote control car racing. And I'm not just talking about the 1/8 or 1/10 or 12th stuff. This is 1/5 petrol, 22cc petrol engines.
Yep.
And I didn't have a flipping clue. I've played with little toy remote control cars, etc. Done all that and had fun with that. And this, there was no one to show me. I'm going to admit, I might have had a fire or two in my dad's garage, but there was a fire extinguisher on hand. It was put out rather quickly. Don't ask. I won't tell you how that started. But there was no help whatsoever. And at that time, fifth scale racing was very young in the UK. There wasn't a lot of cars out there, and suppliers. There was one in Rawtenstall. He was pretty much the only one in the country. And as I don't drive, it was very difficult. I couldn't get up there to talk to him. So a lot of phone calls later. Lots of debit card, credit card numbers later. I managed to get down to a track and got a lot of help from people. Some of it very, very good, some of it not so good. It happens no matter what you do. And my learning curve went up very, very steep then.
Yeah.
The expectations for me, I thought I was brilliant at what I was doing. No, I wasn't. Not at all. I was rubbish. I never won a race, but then not bothered. It was about the fun, and and everything else that goes on with it. But it's my expectations at the time was I'm the best. No one's going to get me. All the gear, no idea, kind of thing.
Right at the start of that Dunning-Kruger curve.
God, and then some. It took a long time for me to learn how to set cars up properly.
Yeah.
How to tune the engines and everything and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm still the same. I go through things like a bull in a bloody china shop doing things. But yeah, it's just take it easy. Whatever you're doing, don't spend a fortune on it.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Just take your time. Think about what you want to do, what you want to achieve. Manage your expectations properly.
Yeah.
Don't be an idiot like me.
Yeah.
Basically.
And don't get too stressed about it either.
No.
If it doesn't go right, it's not the end of the world.
Life's too short.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Arduinos, as you said. You can't hurt yourself with an Arduino, really. At most it's like maybe 10 watts. You might get a singed finger, but that's about it.
Yeah.
If you burn a resistor out or something, but
I don't think you're going to do that, especially if you're powering the Arduino off your PC.
Yeah, exactly. If you're powering it off of a 5-volt phone brick, maybe you could get a couple of watts out, but
not much.
No,
No.
as I say, about 10 watts won't do anything to you.
No.
5 volts, 2 amps.
Mm.
I've been raising the point recently amongst the trustees of maybe we should attend Makers Central. That's held. It's a maker-inspired, maker-themed event. It's very much targeted at our general audience.
Right.
For held at the NEC on, what was it, 30th of April, 1st of May.
Right.
So right at the end of this month.
Is that a bank holiday weekend?
It is the bank holiday weekend.
Right.
It's the Saturday, Sunday of the bank holiday weekend.
Okay.
Now, I went back in 2019, 18, just before COVID hit.
Right.
So yeah, it would have been 18. And it was a really interesting event. Now, a lot of it was more, pardon me, more woodworking and like resin casting focused.
Oh yeah.
Were sort of the two main ones.
Like that.
A lot of reclaimed wood,
Right.
resin, table hybrids, and there was a lot of exhibitors there from like resin suppliers and manufacturers, that kind of thing. There was who's the big woodworking one for the hobbyists?
I have no idea.
Record. Are you familiar with them?
No.
They were there with like a bunch of wood lathes, and it's like 30 quid for an hour on a lathe.
Wow.
Like with an instructor kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like a first taste, because obviously they want to sell you on these things.
Well, yeah. Do you get your 30 quid back after the hour if you buy one?
Don't think so.
Oh damn.
I didn't do it anyway.
Right.
But there was like a Robot Wars thing going on in one corner. And have you heard of Hacky Racers?
No.
So they're a Facebook group that make their own mini electric go-karts with like a Wacky Races.
Yeah.
With oh god, what's the main like the Catch the Pigeon guys?
Oh,
Dick Dastardly, was it?
is it the Hair Bear Bunch or something? No, that's not them.
It's got like Weasley and Dick Dastardly or something like that.
Yeah, it's Penelope Pitstops.
That's one of them.
And,
yeah.
Yeah.
So the vehicles were all quite eccentrically designed. There was one that looked like a fire engine, one that was made out of cardboard.
So are these go-karts kind of thing, or people to sit
Yeah,
in?
yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah,
Okay.
people. One-person go-karts, all made at home in the garage kind of thing.
Right.
I believe anyone can join as long as they stick to the rules, which is in the Facebook group. It's like you can only
stick a link to the Facebook group on the video.
Yeah, I'll see what I can dig out, and we'll put it in the description. And it has rules about what power motor you can have, the number of batteries you can have, that kind of thing.
So it's only battery operated.
It's all electric, battery operated.
Right.
Yeah, because but they take them to various shows. I know they do EMF, which is a big electronics one in the field in the middle of the countryside. It's like an overnight thing with like indie bands and exhibitors there for all sorts of electronics.
Do they do like 24-hour Le Mans endurance kind of thing as well?
I don't think so. It's very much like 20 laps around a very small track.
Right.
Both performing and racing at the same time. So
performing in what way?
So like having props and like hitting each other with props and.
Right, so it's a bit like the Red Bull kart
exactly,
racing kind of thing when they have to do that.
They have a bit of a performance at the start.
At the start, and away they go. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And once there's normally like a little button panel for the audience, and you can press the button that corresponds with the team or the kart, and you vote for who's the best performing.
So it's not just a case of winning the 20 laps.
Yeah, it's about performing as well.
Right.
and it all seems like very good fun. You know, I watched one of their races. It was one of the later ones in the day, so they were all a bit tired, and so were the batteries.
Yeah.
But it looked like really good fun. And honestly, if we had enough space and manpower to do it, we should do it as a space.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the driver, I'm afraid.
No, no. The winners had like a 14-year-old kid in the seat, whereas everyone else had 20-year-old adults. So he had a bit of an advantage, but
Just a smidgen.
as I say, winning's only one. Well, the race is only one part of it.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
yeah, they were there. I'm not. I don't know if they're coming back. It'd be really good if they come back for the 2022 Makers Central. They have a lot of guests on as well. You know, Colin Furze,
Yes.
who does all the wacky, crazy inventions and has lots of metal and rock music in his videos, that kind of thing. There's a bunch of other YouTubers. I think Laura Kampf, if you've heard of her.
No.
So she's a German, like, maker YouTuber, and she often does like portable makes and like caravan stuff and restorations like that.
Right.
And
geekify an old caravan kind of thing.
yeah, geekifying an old caravan, making like portable tool stations for like soldering and using battery packs and all sorts of flight cases, like the stuff we carry all our equipment in, and building electronics into them, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of other guests, and they do have talks running throughout the day with some of these people. And I remember when I went in 2018, 19, whatever it was, and Colin Furze was there. There was like a 100-person queue waiting just to shake his hand, basically. Yeah, he did this talk and then went over to sort of his corner of the hall, which had some of his makes, some of his like the hover bike and his screw tank and that kind of thing. And there was about, as I say, 100 people lining up round the corner.
Was he charging for the handshake?
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
he wasn't.
Okay.
But
I've been to a few things like that, and
yeah,
where the so-called star of the show kind of thing is that £5, please. Do what?
Yeah, exactly. You wait in an hour.
Yeah.
For in the queue,
and you've got to pay him £5.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But
it's crazy.
I think he's getting paid enough to be there.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, it's one of them. I didn't bother waiting all that long, but it was nice to, get a glimpse of the guy you see behind the screen.
Well, yeah. But they say you should never meet your heroes.
Yeah. I think the likes of Colin though would be, he's a nice chap.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
It's when you meet your hero and realise they're a bit of a jerk, really.
Yeah, I do wish I hadn't done that, but
yeah,
it's life. You don't know until you try.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I've been saying for a while that the Makerspace should go. When I went in 2018-19, the Hackspace Foundation were there.
Right.
So the Hackspace Foundation, for those that don't know, are sort of an overarching structure for a lot of the UK's makerspaces. Not everyone's. We're sort of independent from them, but they provide a lot of resource and a lot of guidance for policies and that kind of thing.
Okay.
They were there, and Fizzpop turned up as well.
That's the Birmingham.
So that's
guys.
the Birmingham guys. That's one of the Birmingham makerspaces.
Yeah. We'll have to go out there and take a video and
Fizzpop.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and that'd be fun to do actually.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've moved into their new space last week officially.
Wow.
They're still sorting things out, so they're not open to the public yet.
Right.
But I think when they are, we should make a trip down there with a camera and a microphone.
Definitely.
Meet some of our friends over there and have a chat with them.
Yeah. Well, they have donated a few bits and pieces too.
They certainly have a lathe and a mill.
Yeah. So.
Which we're still getting back up and running. But yeah, we'll definitely take some stuff. Maybe we do a podcast over there with them.
Yeah.
Because this stuff is relatively portable.
Yeah.
Chuck it in the back of the car and.
It's all in the cases, so it'll all be safe. Yeah, definitely do that.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good.
An
on-location podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were at Makers Central last year, or last time it was on, and that's sort of where I met Andy. Yeah, I think it was Andy. No, Adam. Adam, that's the one. Adam. Sorry, there's so many Andys and Alexes amongst who we know in the maker community that I keep getting confused. But yeah, we met some of the Fizz Pop guys there, and they invited us to 3D Meetup and a whole bunch of other little events and whatnots in the Birmingham area, and we took them up on that. We even dropped off some leaflets and some stickers and whatnot that we had. I mean, they're a bit out of date now, but we put them up just for anyone to come by and pick up. And I'm hoping if we can get to Maker Central this year, we can do a similar thing. You know, we can have our own little stall. Maybe we'll invite Fizz Pop along, and we'll.
Have they not got a stall there already?
Not this year.
Right. Okay.
No. It's because the Hackspace Foundation invited them. Basically, the Hackspace Foundation covered the cost of the table and electricity and whatnot.
But they couldn't make it.
But they couldn't make it this year. I don't believe Hackspace Foundation are going this year.
Right.
But if we can make it, then I'd like to invite Fizz Pop, because they're literally only down the road from the NEC.
Yeah.
And we'll just make ourselves known. We'll take some leaflets and the flyers and the banners and whatnot with us, and have a good time with it. Really.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
use it as an opportunity to get our name out there, to explore a bit.
Yep.
Maybe find some sponsors, find some new members.
Yep.
Walk around with a donation bucket or something.
That's it.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It should
definitely up for that.
Yeah. Should be some good fun, I'd say.
Cool.
We're just waiting to see what if the organisers can accommodate us.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Well, put me down for that.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll get a portable podcast system on the go as well, and might be able to do something.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
You know.
We could do with a portable desk, little handheld thing, something like that.
Couple of mics.
Yeah. I've got mics for days. You don't need to worry about mics.
Yeah. Well, we got these things. I mean, these mics.
Well, you've got these. I've got a shotgun that goes on top of a camera, and a little shotgun that goes on top of a camera as well. So
Is that a double barrel shotgun then?
it could be, but one barrel would be a foot long and one would be a couple inches. But that plus a lavalier, a little clip-on mic.
Right.
So we should be set, I'd say, for one person to go around and chat with peeps.
Yeah, we can.
Have you heard of Telford Makerspace?
No.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, stand up against the wall.
Give us money.
Get you all it is.
I'm not going to let you out of this corner unless you give us some money.
They won't let us back in again, you know.
No.
That'll be it.
But yeah, it'd be good to get some video and some podcasting stuff done there.
Yeah.
We do need to make a sort of portable suite, I'd say.
Yeah.
Portable podcast
We'll
suite.
sort something out.
Interesting one from there, leads on from that, is the leaflets I've been working on.
Oh yes.
So
yeah, but before you go down the leaflets though, haven't we just had some new business cards?
we did.
Or, some absolutely awesome design. That's going to be focused on the camera. Is it focused?
That's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
Turn around.
What, me or the front card?
So yeah, I'll put an enlarged image
Yep.
here for our YouTube viewers. Essentially, it's a standard business card size with our iconic dark navy background with a small amount of white text.
Smell of freshly printed stuff. Love it.
like a brand new book.
Yeah.
And it's got Paul's details on there, so everyone will be able to see Paul's phone number and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, we designed them in house. I designed them in house. We had them printed at the local Print Pros, was it?
Print Pro, yeah.
I think it was.
Print Pro
Was it Telford Print Pros or local Print Pros? One of them. Either way, I'll put their details in the description.
Yeah. They were a great bunch of people. They got them done really quick, didn't they?
They did get them done really quick.
Yeah.
They were more than happy to take the artwork that we'd put together, and I'm really impressed with my design work. That sounds like a boast, but also the quality that came out as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's back to the old saying, "Poo in, poo out," isn't it?
Mm.
But the design, it's crisp, it's clear. You get all the information
Yep.
you need on there. It's really good. It's also got on there our new website address, which is just about ready to go. It's live, but yeah, if you can see that, it's telfordmakerspace.org.uk. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
There you go. We have a list of the podcasts and other bits and pieces that we've been doing, and we're going to keep that up to date as much as possible.
Yep, certainly a lot better than our old homebrew website.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No, nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it
Not by
whatsoever.
any means.
Andy did a brilliant job of keeping that going.
Certainly did.
But it's I think we've just outgrown it.
We have.
There's a lot more things we can do with this new system,
Mm-hmm.
including when we do finally get a space, having live webcam feeds,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And when we do the podcasts, we can broadcast the podcasts live as we're doing them, even though that's not what the finished thing will be. But we could do live shows and stuff from our new premises when we get one.
And our RSS feed for the podcasts, that automatically updates, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yep.
So we can automatically get the new podcasts on the website.
That's right.
Low maintenance, great.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yes, sorry, I rudely interrupted you about,
that's a bit of a tangent.
about the leaflets, isn't it?
So, so the design of these business cards and the leaflets that I'll get onto in a bit more detail were derived basically just from our logo.
Yeah.
So our logo was done by a couple of local students, college students from, I think it wasn't Telford.
Was it Shrewsbury College?
Shrewsbury College, I think it was.
Yeah.
They came to us and said, "Hey, do you want any stuff doing on a volunteer?"
Yep.
We said, "Yeah, we could do with a new logo." At that point, we'd already really been discussing logos and bouncing concepts back and forth at that point. So we'd already had a pretty solid idea, but we just needed that touch from someone who had the knowledge of...
Had a bit more artistic intent on what was...
colour theory and that kind of thing
Yeah.
that I don't know anything about, frankly. And they came back with our current logo, and we said, "That's amazing, thank you very much." In essence, it's got three main colours. It's got the dark navy background. It's got the grey silver secondary colour, and the slightly, I'd say it's not primary green, but it's slightly darker than primary green as sort of the tertiary colour used in sort of those quantities.
Yeah.
So
it's simple, but it gets the point. You can tell it's Telford.
Yeah, exactly.
It's meant to.
It's meant to represent the Wrekin and the Urkel, is it?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I have no clue how to pronounce that because I'm not from here. Some of the old fogies will definitely be correcting me on that.
Yeah, probably.
But
I'm not a local, and I've been here since 1980. But, there you go.
But yeah, it's meant to represent those two local hills, local monuments, with a bit of a high-techy twist. Especially with the not rectangle. What do you call it? Parallelogram, green parallelogram infill on our logo. Again, I'll show you what I mean.
Yeah. Good, because I haven't got a clue. But
The green bits in the
green,
circle.
the small squarey bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you call those shapes.
It's infill.
Yeah.
It's squares.
Yeah. So all of our media was sort of themed around that logo. That's sort of what I used to get any sort of layout done. With the business cards, I kept the background as that dark navy, as the sort of primary colour, accented slightly with an even darker tone than that for the logos that fill out the background that isn't the central logo that actually glows with a slight green, which I think looks really nice. And on the front is just clear, light grey / silver text, and it just gives it a nice, simple, but effective look. Without being...
It's clear, it's crisp, it gets the point, it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
Or the box. I know we had, I think we wound you up a little bit when we were doing the proofreading.
You did?
All right. It was just me, was it?
It royal you.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a pininicky bugger when it comes to things like that. It's just we all have our own little talents and areas and bits and pieces, and all I was trying to say at the time was that do this, change that, and it'll pop a bit more.
Yeah.
And I think it did. I mean, you've done a brilliant job.
Thank you.
You have done a brilliant job.
Yeah.
And the new leaflets, which you have been doing for the last couple of hours, or couple of days, I should say, again, the theme is there, the branding is there, and it's just now the content, because we can use that as a template.
Yeah. Exactly.
And do multiple different types of leaflets for whatever we need to do now that you've built the template.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the templates, again, image,
Yeah.
for those on video, were a bit of a pain for me. I'm not great at sort of that traditional 2D layouts, really. It took a long time for me to get at least the front, which has 4 images in a single box, and then 2 big blocks of text underneath. It took me an age just to settle on that, because I did want 4 images. You know, we've got quite a few really nice stock images that show various different aspects, but no single image could sum up who we are.
No, that's it's almost like you want to morph the 4 images into one blob.
Yeah.
But I think you've done very well.
With I was looking at loads of different examples of sort of charity leaflets.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that's given out to say, hey, this is our cause, here's how you can help us, which is exact kind of thing we're trying to do. And a lot of the examples basically just used one image.
Yeah.
And it worked really well. It was really nice and simple, nice and clean. Stuff like supporting kids in Africa can be done with a single image.
I mean, there's just changing this.
Go ahead.
Subject slightly. Fantastic film with Bruce Willis, Fifth Element. Brilliant film. There's the girl crashes through the top of his taxi and she's asking for help, and she can see a sign with a child in Africa, help, and that's all it said in it was please help. That was it, and it's like that. It's getting that image across. That picture just said all. Yeah. But like you're saying, what you wanted was 4 individual pictures.
Yeah, because
it gives a bit more scope of what we do.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if I remember off the top of my head, the images were Glyn using a table saw.
Yep.
It's a really good stock image. It shows exactly what we're about. It's about people using niche tools, expensive,
with all the safety gear.
With all the safety gear, doing it properly.
Yeah.
But we're more than that. You know, we're a community. So I've got an image of 4 of us. We've got 3 of the trustees and Thomas, one of our members.
Yeah, at the community
fair.
At the
community fair.
At the Belfry.
That's exactly what we're about on the community front.
Can you remember the rest?
We have the Iron Santa in the hospital.
Yep.
So it was Iron Santa in the middle with 2 nurses, one either side.
I bet Adam loved that.
In front, he absolutely did love that. And it's very clearly in the children's ward.
Yeah.
You know, they're all holding up presents, and Iron Santa's got his thumbs up, and it's a really good image showing how we help the community. And the last one was, you know, some 3D prints again at the community fair that we did.
Yeah.
But it shows, you know, again what you can make.
Yeah.
You know, what you can learn to design at the makerspace. But none of those images would have shown exactly what we're about on their own.
Not one single one. No, there isn't. I mean, all right, you can do a table of tools and things that were printed and made, etc. But that's very clinical, and we want to portray the human aspect of
exactly
of what we do.
So it took a lot of iterations to get to that design where I was happy showing off the 4 images in a clean way.
Yeah.
And I ended up basically putting them all together, putting a boundary box around them, a bright green boundary following the colours in our logo, and rounding off the corners on each image.
That rounding makes a massive difference.
It does.
Because you're kind of pulled towards each individual image, aren't you?
Yeah, it's all slightly soft as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's all a bit harsh if you have straight edges, and that's not really what we're about.
No.
As I say, just a couple of paragraphs of text underneath, one saying basically in bullet points the different aspects, reiterating what the images show. So it talks about community, about opportunities to volunteer, in the local area and learning to make stuff and learn new skills. The bottom is, how you can help, how you can join.
Yep.
And it says, oh, look on the back, and there's Discord, details to the Discord and the website. And again, you turn over, and it's relatively simple. Shows off our logo in the same sort of glowy font that our business cards used. It's got details about the Discord with a little QR code, because it's a lot easier to use a QR code than it is to type in the Discord invite.
Yeah.
I bet you I could probably memorise that, or at least the first bit. It's like EEZG something or other.
The QR code?
No, the invite for
the
Discord.
Discord invite. Oh, right, okay.
I've copied and pasted it so much. There was a bunch of other content, but again, I'll show both sides in the video. I'm just making a load of editing for me now.
You are.
Show this, show that.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up having to do like transitions and stuff as well.
Oh man.
I know.
You wanted the webcam. You wanted to do it on video.
I just suggested maybe we should get a webcam in case we do something for the Shrewsbury Biscuit again.
We haven't even mentioned that, have we?
We haven't.
No.
So
That's another 20 minutes.
exactly. Yeah, I went to the Wellington Orbit.
Yeah.
For their creators. Yeah, it was about a month ago,
Yeah.
6 weeks. For their creators networking session.
Mm-hmm.
So it was intended to bring a load of local creators that do video work and live streaming and podcasting, movies, directing as well.
Yeah.
And we went as a charity. It was me, Adam, and Andy.
Right.
And we met Alex there from the Shrewsbury Biscuit. He was doing a talk on the Shrewsbury Biscuit and how it came about during COVID, because it started off as since he got made redundant or was furloughed. So he decided to take up the podcast, and it really exploded.
It was good fun doing it.
Yeah, and we networked. We exchanged business cards, and he said, "Why don't you come on? We think you're a really cool organisation. The Makerspace is a really cool organisation. Why don't you come on and we'll talk about it? Because we know you need a new home. You've made that very clear, and we can try and get your voice out there."
Cool.
So we arranged something for, what was it, Friday?
Yeah, that's Friday.
This Friday?
Yeah.
And he was a really nice chap. He was very supportive of our technical difficulties.
He was late.
He was late. We had technical difficulties.
We did.
One stupid button on the desk, and we weren't getting anything through.
You were the desk guy.
I was the desk person.
You were. It's your fault.
But we got there in the end.
Yeah.
We had a really good session with him.
Yeah.
And again, we'll put a link to that in the description. I'm sure it should be out by now. We'll just have to
how quick he is at updating and editing and doing that.
But we're hoping to have him on as a guest at some point.
Yep.
He's on the guest list, or will be, and I'm sure he'd love to talk about the podcast, about his podcast, about his story, about what he's going to be, what he makes. Because while he doesn't physically make as much as he wants to, he does make the podcast, and that should be consider him a maker. So we had a really good session with Alex from the Shrewsbury Biscuit, and it's a real killer that Adam wasn't there, because Alex really loves his Marvel, really loves his superhero stuff.
Yeah,
and
I don't think we'd have got a word in edgeways.
No. Him and Adam get on like a house on fire. They certainly did during the networking session that we had.
Right.
And I bet you they'd want to collaborate on building a suit or something. I know Alex was like, please make us not an Iron Man, a Batman suit. Can you 3D print a Batman suit? You can do that kind of thing.
It's not a lot to it. It's black.
Yeah, just black PLA. Yeah. It's just the files you need.
Yeah.
But Adam's printed Iron Man suits. I think he's on his third at this point. So I'm sure he'd be interested in collaborating. That's for sure.
Yeah. But just remember that he's actually printing them under license as well, isn't he?
He is printing them under license.
Yeah.
And he did have to pay for that license.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, when we do get Alex on, I'm going to make sure that Adam comes on as well.
Yeah.
That reminds me, there is. I do want to design next another banner. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get it done in time for Maker Central because
Right.
banners normally take, I think, 4 or 5 working days plus shipping
Okay.
for manufacture. But the banner we've got is a very generic one. I'm not. Have you seen it before?
I haven't. I saw. I briefly visited when you did at the Belfry
Yes,
Open Day
the craft
thing,
fair
the
thing.
craft fair. I'll be honest with you, I didn't because I didn't pay much attention.
Fair enough.
That's really
But
bad
yeah,
saying
it's,
that. Being a trustee as well.
We made that banner initially. Again, image on the screen. It's quite a tall thing.
Right.
We made that banner for that event, and it's still applicable to others. It's very generic, but I think we should definitely have two. It looks a bit weird having a stall with only a single banner.
Right. Right. You'd want one kind of either side.
Yes.
Are they? Was it a pull up?
It was one of them pull-up ones with
Right.
the telescopic rod at the back.
Right. Right. Right.
You know.
With you.
They're very simple. I think it was only about £27, which
Okay.
honestly isn't that bad.
No. Is that
'Cause it-
including the stand as well?
Yeah, including the
That's
stand.
very good.
You know, printing, stand,
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
For comparison, just their plain stand marketed as a COVID screen, so a transparent
Yeah.
pull-up banner basically was again around 24. So
Okay.
I wouldn't call it ridiculous at 27, 28
That's,
for a custom
That's
printed
not
one.
bad, no.
But we need a second one. We
Yeah.
need a second one to really frame whatever stand we end up with. We'll likely end up with probably maybe a 3 meter booth. I'd say at Maker's Central. So it'd be good to have one on each corner,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
on opposing
Catch-
corners.
Catch the eye line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, I mean, we could just print the same one again, but that's not great, is it? You want different ones, I'd say.
But you'd want to build different ones. So yeah, I would say design a new one.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're always open to a bit of sponsorship from people if they want a donation, if they want to. If any companies are listening and they want to put their name on something, we can definitely sort something out to do that bit of advertising for them.
We could almost do with that. Actually, might be a good one for the banner. Is like a how do you help us banner, or how can you help us banner?
Yeah, your name here.
Yeah, so almost like a your name here. So it's we're looking for sponsors, or
Yeah.
we're looking for donations, and we'll have you know, like a here's how you can become a corporate sponsor. Here's how you can become a member.
Yeah.
Here's how you make a one-off donation.
Talking of that,
Yeah.
we are looking at having sponsorship levels for companies, aren't we?
We are.
I know we're kind of pushing ourselves again, but that's what we're here for anyway. At the end of the day, so different levels. Have we worked out what we're calling them or what levels they are?
So
I know it's a bit cold going
Yeah,
into
yeah,
this, but
that's fine. So we don't have specific names for each level yet. I think we're just going to keep it something simple like bronze, silver, gold tiers.
Right, okay.
But in essence, we want sponsorships, corporate sponsorships, to be available for all kinds of businesses. You know, I really want to get local businesses sponsoring us.
Yeah.
And it can be a bit difficult to do that if they're a small business. You know, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, but we're not talking about a couple of grand here.
No.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's like small company, £10 a month,
Yeah.
£20 a month, something like that.
Or a one-off of 100 or 200 quid, something like that.
Yeah.
The way we're intending to sell it is through directly supporting the members, which we are. You know, the money will be used to support the members.
Yep.
Will be helped to
Yeah.
maybe fund a bigger space or fund some new equipment, etc.
Yeah.
Um,
Because none of the trustees get anything.
No,
anything out of it all.
no, we don't get paid. We're not allowed to be paid by law. Trustees aren't. And we definitely can't drop down to being, charity directors and get paid for that. That's
Okay.
again illegal.
Yeah.
So even if we wanted to, there wouldn't be a way of getting paid.
So any money given donated to us would go directly to help
Exactly.
our user base.
Yep. And again, you know, we're sort of looking for maybe for the sort of low tier, the entry level tier. We're looking for, I don't know, maybe 1 to 10 members. You know, over a course of a year. So that'd be £100 to £1,000. Well, 120 to 1,200 to be specific.
1,200 quid a year.
1,200 quid a year.
Yeah.
For a basic sponsorship, which would have you, on the website.
Mm-hmm.
It'd have you probably on some printed media.
Yeah. Bit of information on podcasts, etc.
Bit of information on podcasts.
Yeah. So that 1,200 quid a year.
Yep.
Kind of thing. That would get. What would that get? Where's the end goal for that 12? I know it goes to help the charity and everything. Helps, gets a space, pays rent, whatever. But what does the company get out of that?
So
For the do that company's staff get anything out of that?
yeah, so for companies that sponsor us,
Yeah.
they will get, especially for the smaller tiers, you get almost a 1-to-1 for your employees to become members.
Right. Okay.
If they want to. So if you are, say, an engineering company and a couple of your employees have expressed interest in becoming members, by you being a sponsor, not only do you get the advertising and the word of mouth from the podcasts for your sponsorship, you also get, or the employees rather, can claim membership through your sponsorship as well.
Corporate sponsorship scheme.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So the members that you sponsor as a company will either be your employees, or if that's not being fully utilised, it will be for members of the public or members who would be unable to afford a proper membership.
Right. So Joe Boggs comes along
And says, I
and
really
says,
love what you do,
Yeah.
but I can't afford the 20 quid a month
Yeah,
for a key holder or for all hours access.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
turn around and say, well, on the down low, we've got corporate sponsors for just this reason.
Yeah.
Do you want a sponsored membership? Now, there won't be a direct relationship between a particular sponsor and a
end user,
as it were, and a member, as it were, but they will know on the down low that it has been provided by a sponsor.
So it's a bit like the prepay cups of teas and coffees that some places do.
Exactly.
Okay. So it works on the same principle.
So
it doesn't matter who's done it, who's prepaid it.
No.
There is a
pot of money there.
It's there for so if people want to join, and they haven't got it, and if we have that available through corporate sponsorship,
exactly,
then that's helping them.
Yeah.
Even more, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because we want to make our facilities open to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
The only problem is they're not free for us.
No, there's always a cost.
We do need to keep afloat.
Yeah, to keep the lights on, etc., etc., etc.
So we think that's a happy middle ground for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Obviously members can pay their own way. Some may feel obliged to.
Yeah.
But they're allowed to take advantage of corporate sponsorship as well as us as the trustees.
Yeah.
We don't have any yet. There are some companies in mind who I've spoken to quietly, who have worked with us in the past and are potentially open to sponsorship. And we'll be announcing them when things become more concrete.
Cool. Excellent. Cool. Yeah. That brake thing, those pictures on your handbrakes.
Awful.
I consider it just past MOT.
Yeah. Yep.
I hope you're going to go back and tell them that.
Honestly, I'm not fussed. The guys were sound. They overlooked some other issues that I'd rather they didn't, such as me ignition switch being hot wired. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no, really. That model of Volvo, the ignition switch has a factory fault where sometimes you turn it to crank and it just won't.
Right.
And it gets worse as it gets older. So mine just doesn't crank. So I wired up took the 2 for the crank switch and put a button and I wired up.
So it was the first button start.
Yeah, it's a remote start. So I have to put the key in and turn it to 2, turn it to engine.
Yeah, and then you just press the button.
Press the button.
Dear me. Isn't that a bit of a Ferrari thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a proper switch to replace it with, but
You're just not going around to it.
you have to take the whole dash off because it's a single piece.
Single unit.
So you have to take the whole thing off to get to the back of the switch, and it was much easier to get your hands under the wiring loom and figure out which one it was.
Oh
But
dear.
yeah, it's not like the movies where you can hotwire a car in 2 seconds. You can't.
You don't need to with yours, do you?
No. But it probably took about 40 minutes figuring out which wire was which.
Right.
Which order they had to be in. Right, let's do an outro.
Okay.
So, thank you everyone for joining us. This has been episode 3, and we hope you enjoyed everything discussed and the new approach with the video for those who tuned in via YouTube or via our site. And please let us know what you thought, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for episode 4, hopefully with guest Elizabeth, who's the large format 3D printing expert.
Excellent.
It should be an amazing episode.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.